Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Geopolitics with Ramin. I am doing more or less a video series on which path to Persia by the Brookings Institute, and I will do short videos on each and every strategy. So the first strategy is the persuasion strategy, which is in chapter 1, and the next strategy is called engagement strategy. It's also in chapter 1, but I will go through persuasion first. So what is the persuasion strategy? It's adopted by George W. Bush and his administration in 2005. And they wanted to use a diplomatic approach of positive inducements and a threat of economic and diplomatic sanctions if Tehran didn't comply. It's also known as the stick and carrot strategy. And President Barack Obama continued this policy. So those who favor persuasion, and this is verbatim from the policy paper, and I'm quoting here, sometimes infeliciously, sorry, my bad, I probably butchered that word, refer to it as a policy of carrots and sticks, and then they criticize George Bush that he hamstrung this process because he combined it with a policy of regime change, basically, right? And that ran across its purpose, so to speak. It kind of destroyed the purpose of it, according to this paper. Those who criticized them, that is to say. And it says here, it also eschewed key diplomatic bargains that might have secured greater international support and refused to put up meaningful positive incentives that could have had a greater impact on the actions of both Tehran and the rest of the international community. Persuasion also requires building a broad international commitment to a set of powerful sanctions on Iran to punish it for non-compliance at a time when many countries do not see the threat from Iran as a priority, and some have reason to oppose such treatment. Moreover, in the final analysis, this option and the engagement option as well rests on the willingness and the ability of leaders of Iran to sort out their politics in such a way that they agree to comply with the international community. Iran's habitual pugnancy toward external pressure and the Byzantine internal politics of the clerical regime mean that any such effort inevitably begins with a hard road to hoe. So, to conclude, even in the policy paper, they talk about this. It's not just about the nuclear program. It's also about Iran's support for resistance movements in the region, that is to say Hezbollah, and nowadays, as of late, also Ansarullah, certain Palestinian factions, Iraqi factions as well, and also we've heard as of late to completely get rid of the ballistic missile program, which is what has saved Iran. For us, it would be kind of stupid. So, they have actually used Gaddafi in this paper as an example of the persuasion strategy, if I'm not mistaken. I only took a little bit of it because it's a very long paper, and I know the attention span isn't the best. So, but nonetheless, there is a time frame that they speculate here on how long this will kind of hold out and all of that. But I'll give it to you. Time frame. The persuasion approach holds out the potential to achieve its goal relatively quickly, conceivably in a matter of months, although a time frame of several years seems more likely, at least in theory. The United States and its allies might agree very quickly on a package of benefits to offer Tehran, as well as a series of new penalties to impose on Iran if it refused the deal. Likewise, Iran might quickly decide that the deal is a good one and accept it, and then things move forward relatively quickly. The reality, however, and I like the honesty of this paper. I guess because very few people read it, so that's why they can do. It talks about how the success of the implementation of this deal will likely not happen or take a very long time due to internal political disputes within each camp, right? And amongst each other, obviously. The reality, however, is that both processes are likely to involve very complicated internal political and external diplomatic negotiations, even if they are successful. Consequently, it seems unrealistic to expect this approach to produce actual success in less than a few years. However, if there are early indications of progress on both sides, the expectation of success may produce many positive ripples long before the deal is signed. And one of the reasons why Iran will most likely not give up its support for various resistance movements within the West Asia region is because this is part of Iran's defense strategy. Iran knows that from a military standpoint, in terms of direct confrontation, it cannot perhaps defeat the United States in that sense. So what they have relied upon is asymmetrical warfare, allying themselves with, let's say, Hashat al-Shabi in Iraq, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Ansarullah in Yemen, and so forth, and Palestinian resistance factions, of course. That is to say, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, lesser extent even Marxist-Leninist groups such as the PFLP, and maybe Arab nationalist groups such as PFLP-GC, and so forth and so forth, and also Hamas. They coordinate with these groups to carry out asymmetrical attacks against American targets, Israeli targets, and Gulf states targets, of course, to put so much pain, because Iran will also feel the pain. But if Iran is gonna feel the pain, you will also feel the pain, and so much pain that you will stop the war, and we will survive, and you will lose, and eventually you will be kicked out of the region. And on top of that, Iran has an economic nuclear weapon, as they call it, which is the control of the Strait of Hormuz, as you probably have heard in the news cycle. And they can also activate Ansarullah, or the Houthis as they're also known, in Yemen to shut down the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. So there won't be any oil exports from Saudi Arabia via that pathway to many economies across the world, in particular the East Asian and Southeast Asian economies, which rely heavily on Gulf oil. So that's it for today. I wanted to make a short video because I don't have a whole lot of time. I know you guys perhaps don't have the bandwidth and the attention span to listen to very long videos. So next video, we will go through the engagement strategy. And I appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and share my work. I'm also on Substack, Geopolitics with Ramin, and go and subscribe to me over there as well. Thank you very much, and stay blessed.